You're listening to the Selfless Entrepreneurs Podcast, where we chat about the ups, downs, and in between of businesses and how being an entrepreneur is when it comes to self-care, work-life balance, and so much more. You'll hear guest experts in the field talk about their businesses and give tips, helpful advice, self-care, and balancing family and business and some. Don't forget to subscribe, download, and share. Now let's get right into it. Hey, my fellow selfless entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Jennifer Gamayo Self, and welcome back to this podcast episode. Before I get into it, I wanted to let you know that this podcast is for all entrepreneurs, whether you're just starting out, you're seasoned, or you're somewhere in between. And I would love to have you on this podcast as a guest expert in your field or anything that you can bring here to the entrepreneurial world and business world. So reach out to me, email me, send me a text. It's all over the place. I'm on all social media. You can find me there and follow me on Facebook and Instagram and wherever you are. So I would love to hear from you. And now today I wanted to talk about hustle. So what comes to mind when I say that word? And as many of you already know, I'm sure you already know if you follow me whatsoever for a lengthy period of time, I absolutely hate that word. To me, it has a negative vibe and I feel instantly overwhelmed and really honestly kind of anxious. But you see this all the time on posts or on signs on desk, those pretty little desk signs or on your door, or you see the pretty little posts on social media about, every day I'm hustling. But honestly, I feel bad for those people. I really, really do. And I was actually happy. I was so happy when I saw another friend of mine in the business world ask this question on her page, and I was not surprised at all to see that every single comment said it was a negative feeling and they do not like it, they don't use it, they actually very much dislike it like me. There was a lot of comments and there was not one positive one, and she's a very, very popular entrepreneur. So that being said, I was also pleased to see other entrepreneurs and business owners and creatives alike express this just this past week. So it's very fitting that I actually had this outline to talk about it. I've been wanting to talk about it for a while, but it's very fitting because it's just been talked about this past week, and I think it needs to be expressed. And so it's nice to see others waking up and coming out of this so-called trendy word and very loosely term that others use in their business. And I, like I said, I feel bad for them. Burnout is very real and occurs way too often, and it's not talked about. And because we only want to show our good side on social media and not behind the scenes and the realistic parts of the journey, that is of being a creative, being a business owner, being an entrepreneur, anything like that. And in my humble opinion, we need to normalize that more instead of showing the end result or the glamorous parts, because there are a lot of glamorous parts, but it takes a while to get there. Nobody really shows the beginning. They don't show the struggle. They don't show the journey. So many people out there in the business world that are successful. And I know a lot of multiple 6-figure, 7-figure business owners, and I love that they share the honesty. They're very real and transparent, and I think that's where I get it from a lot of my past business coaches as well, and my peers that I mastermind with. But it's like you have to see the fails, and especially if you're new starting out, I really want you to hear me out on this, because what you see is not always what you get. Anybody can portray anything on social media, but you have to really understand, unless you really know that person or understand their journey, then you don't know what it took, all the crying, all the struggles, the tears, the hard work that they put into, all the fails just to get the one first yes, just to get to where they're at. So, and it takes a lot of that. Success doesn't happen overnight. And I just want to encourage you that if you're listening, if you're just starting out, or if you're revamping and redoing your brand or anything, then you probably already know it doesn't happen overnight. And so just don't give up. Don't compare and despair. I'm going to do another episode on that in the future, but just just really, we need to normalize all of the journey. And that's exactly what I intend to do on this podcast, my other podcast, which is the Happy Hormones Coach. And I have always been transparent on my social media for that very reason. I was on this when I was doing real estate school. I mean, I was like, yeah, I was a business owner with something else, but this is very new to me. And, I provided all of that because I want people to understand that journey. So anyways, rant is over. My rant is over, and let's get back to it. Let's get back to the word hustle and why I really wanted to talk about that today. So why is that word used so loosely these days, as if it is something to brag about, right? I feel like I said as if, but let's get real here, since that's what this podcast is all about. It's about getting real. We're getting real in business and real estate and in everything. So I am all for working smarter, not harder. You'll hear me talk about that as well. You can be productive and you can get a whole lot accomplished while protecting your health and ultimately, but also your sanity and your boundaries. And you might have heard of the saying, that I think there might even be a song, don't quote me on that, but it's every day I'm struggling. That goes perfect with every day I'm hustling, because that is exactly what you are doing when you are in that mentality. And not to mention the impacts on your health and mental wellness. Okay, so let me run through an experiment with you. And this is what I like to use with my clients to show what is going on in your body when you quote unquote hold too tight or hustle, right? And I want you to close your eyes, only if you're not driving and if it's safe to do so, but I want you to really use your senses on this one. Okay, so just pay close attention if you can, or when you get home and it's safe to do so. So, all right, close your eyes, relax your shoulders, relax your face, relax your body, and just sit comfortably, however that looks like to you. So are you relaxed? Breathing well? Good. So now I want you to put your hand in a fist and squeeze as if you're squeezing onto your last $100 bill or anything of value. Okay, so we'll hold that squeeze for about 10 seconds. Now unclench your fist. Just let it go. Now I want you to really engage your senses on this and answer this. So what did you feel while you were just sitting there relaxed? How was your face? How did you feel? And how about when you were holding onto your fist? So when you were squeezing onto that, did you notice your face tighten up? Maybe your jaw clenched, or maybe you stopped breathing for a second. And that seems to happen a lot during this exercise. And I'm amazed at the same things that I hear. So see, you were holding too tightly. You were holding on tightly, and it seemed that you were in control, but really it was when you were in that relaxed state that you were actually in control, and it did not have a negative impact. So you can just tell just by that experiment that when you're in that mode or holding on too tightly, maybe you're not delegating certain tasks that your thing, we all have this one thing that we're just really good at, and that's what we should be focused on. So if there are certain tasks that we can delegate out, by all means, that is awesome. That's what you should be doing. And I do want to say that people can be busy throughout the day. You can always say, oh my gosh, I'm running around here and there. I'm busy, busy, busy. But just because you're busy, it does not mean that you are productive or making money. I just want to say that because I see that a lot too, that people post, oh my gosh, I'm a busy bee. I'm so busy all the time. But it's just like, okay, well, if you're not doing any like money-making producing activities, or if you're not being smart about what you're doing, if you're just running around, hustling, so-called hustling, then it's just like, what are you really doing though? You're just spinning your head, and that's not okay. That's not what we want. That's not why we decided to get in this business. So you may be thinking like an employee and not like a CEO of your business. And we need to like focus on that, put on that hat, because that's what it's about. We got into this to get out of the employee mode. Not that it's bad if you're still an employee, not at all. But if you are on this journey, you do have your own business, put on your CEO hat because that is what it's all about. We got to start thinking, running a business as a CEO of our company and not as an employee. All right. So when you're running around hustling to get things done, you're actually harming your health and the impact it has on your digestive system, nervous system, hormones for sure, and sleep, amongst a whole host of other things. So now don't get me wrong. I know that when you are first starting out, you may have to put in more work to get that momentum going, but you still do not need to be in that hustle mentality or flow. You really just don't. So work like you mean it, put in what you need to, but I want to encourage you to play smart. It's your business, your health, and your life. I'm talking about health. If you notice, I'll pull that into a lot of things just because I am a holistic practitioner for women's health and a functional nutritionist. So I will always pull the health card because that is my first and foremost passion, and I bring it into all kinds of business stuff. So you will hear me talk about that in this podcast. You'll hear other guest experts talk about it as well. So I'm really excited for the direction that this is going. Anyways, that was just a side note. But I do want to keep these short, these podcast episodes short because I get it. I'm speaking to busy business people, and that is totally cool. But I also want to leave you with some simple things that you can start to do today or this week and build those healthy habits in nutrition, work, and life, and that will keep you productive and sane. So here are a few things that I have learned throughout the years in my own business ventures, and some things that I wish I knew to do right from the start. So besides the nutrition, physical fitness, and our environmental health, that I won't be getting into it. I won't do that today. But all of these, like I said, play a big role in your energy and productivity. So first things first, having a block schedule. Time block everything and have a planner, whether digital or paper. Like me, I'm old school. So I'm a pen and a paper kind of girl, and I still use a paper planner, courtesy of Unstoppable Entrepreneurs, one of the investments that I currently have and involved in. So yeah, I have their planner, and I can't wait for the next year's planner to come out, by the way. But I do have that. I do have the Google Calendar as well. So it's like I am checking that, but it's all synced, right? And so now what I mean by time blocking is really account for your morning routines, any personal appointments, evening routine, lunch and breaks. Yeah, you got to give yourself that because you do work for yourself after all, and you are entitled to a break or two during the day. Just because you run your own business doesn't mean you don't deserve breaks, because you do. That's actually going to make you be more productive. So block for social media posts or videos, being guest on podcasts, certain times of the day that you want client calls or discovery or consult calls, so on and so on. So make sure to be diligent and mindful of that time. And if you do that and you stick to it, I know that life happens, so include some room in your schedule for that as well. Give yourself grace in your day. Don't do everything so strictly. Allow for enough time for, if any emergencies come through, if there's any parent teacher conferences at your school, anything with the kids, doctor's appointments, anything that may come up, allow for that time. And like I said, give yourself grace for that, but do allow that, because that is so important. You need to allow that on your schedule and not just bam, 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 all these things. You got to allow for that time. And so you really got to look at your schedule because you already know it, you're already going to know what you're doing, and it'll become a habit. So pretty much you won't have to, once you start doing this routinely, it's going to just become a habit, and we won't really need to look at it so much. Now, yes, definitely look at your schedule, because I know that I check mine first thing in the morning. I do check it during the day for any changes, and also before bed to check if there's anything that was added or canceled. So, you will look at your schedule, but what I mean is your routine, your morning, evening routine, when you have these certain times for client calls, etc., are going to be so ingrained. It's just going to be habit that you won't have to always constantly know what's going to be next. So that's what I meant by that. And so the next thing is, and this is one that I can do a whole episode on or two by itself, but it is the power of saying no, setting healthy boundaries, and people pleasing. Do not people please. So I guess all three of those can tie into one section, really essentially. But it can also tie in with your block schedule. And I want you to honor your time, your schedule, and if there is something that someone wants you to do and it interferes or you just can't, but you just say you will anyways because you don't like confrontation, or maybe you just feel bad, or they're a friend or family member, either way, honor your time. If they respect you, trust me, they will understand and you will feel so much better. You cannot be everywhere all at once. If you have a schedule, stick to it. If anybody, whoever that is, does not respect your boundaries, does not respect your time, because this is your time, it's valuable, then they don't respect you. And I just did a Facebook post on this today. They just don't respect you. So you really have to honor yourself first. This is where we really need to be the CEO of our business and stick to our schedule. We have to honor that time. Nobody goes to the doctor's office and expects them to, just do whatever for them, right? I mean, they have their schedule, they have their time. So we have to honor that, just as if we're in a brick and mortar business as well. Even if we're online or in real estate or anything like that, we have to respect our time. Others have to respect it as well. So set those healthy boundaries. This is where it can cross the line to that hustle mode that we want to stay away from. And that's the whole basis for this talk today. So there is a difference between when someone really needs help or when they're just wanting you to do something, either right then and there, that can wait, or just put you on a guest list at an event, let's say, that you are already busy, but you feel like you need to do anyways, right? We've all had that friend or that family member who will just invite us somewhere and without even asking us, we're just going to be going to some events. And it's just like, no, if I'm busy, I'm not going to do it. And that's that. Right? The power of saying no is really powerful. It really is. And it will save you in the end. It will actually have people respect you more. And it's the right people. And if they don't understand your time, they don't understand your boundaries, then, maybe you need to step away for a while. And that's okay, because we all have to. And the right people will be drawn to you and they'll stay with you. Those are your people. And, I've actually had to say no to people and events and so on and let them know that my verbiage is, I'm sorry, but I have to respectfully decline because my plate is full. It's as full as I want it to be right now at this moment. Now, it's not like you're saying no forever, and I didn't either. But it's just at this time, you can say no and come back to it later if you want, whatever. Or you can say yes, but I really want you to be intentional and focus on your schedule, focus on your block schedule and your time, because we really need to nail that down. And then everything can come after. I was a people pleaser. I really, really was. I hated confrontation, whether it be online, in person, with my family. But, then I learned to have a voice and I learned to speak my opinion. I learned to say no. And then I also learned to say yes when I wanted to. But the first time I said no, I was actually an employee working in the medical field. And I was working for this one doctor, and she was really hard. People did not want to work for her, whatever, but it didn't bother me at all, right? I was seasoned in the field, 20 plus years, and it didn't bother me. But I stuck up for myself, and it wasn't even really scary. She actually really respected me after and just talked to me like I was just anybody. She really did. So it's kind of like, once you stick up for yourself, you'll know, you'll be respected anyways. So that was my little rant about that and my little history and education of when, I had to stop people pleasing too, even being an employee, because I was feeling burnt out and I was like, I can't do this. I cannot physically do this anymore. I can't run around pleasing every single person, patients, doctors, and physicians. And it's like, I can't do that. So it actually turned the tide for me and grew me into what I am today, which I'm super thankful for that. And my friend Kat Janisco, she has a podcast, the People Pleaser podcast, and it's amazing. If you want to take the time to listen to that, she's incredible. Yeah, she's a friend and a mentor of mine as well. So self-care. Need I say more? This is the next thing. Make sure when you're blocking time to have some time, whether it is 30 minutes to an hour or even 15 minutes to do something that you enjoy, or just honestly do nothing at all. That's right. Absolutely nothing. And just do that. Be that for whatever dedicated time you have to yourself. Do it. And I have multiple streams of income myself, so I totally understand you can be busy. Like, you can have busy days, but hustling and grinding is no way to live or do business, and it will get you absolutely nowhere. I promise you, it will not. But it will get you, if you want to be burnt out, along with having adrenal fatigue, health issues, and all the other downstream problems that come with it. That's what hustling will get you. So I will say that. And so listen, I know how busy it is, and it may seem like there is not enough time in the world or days, but if you think about it, if you stop to really think about it, there actually is. It's just how we use our time that matters. So scrolling through social media or binging on TV shows that are not using your time wisely or productively, unless it is solely for that self-care time. And I would even venture out to say, I'm not even judging. Like, if you want to use that for self-care, hey, that's that. As long as you're taking time for yourself, then that's fine, to each their own. But it might not even be in the realm of self-care, but that's just my opinion. There's no right or wrong way to do self-care. Just get that time in for yourself. That's good for you. So you see, even the most successful people in all of the world have the same amount of hours in the day as you and I. Yes, they do. Yes, it may not seem like it. It may seem like, Elon might have more time than us, but honestly, nope, there's still that 24 hours in a day that everybody has. So whether it is starting your day early or however that looks like for you, make sure to consider it. And when you do go to your schedule, be realistic, like I was mentioning earlier, and add in your special self-care dedicated time. So give yourself grace, but always be flexible in your schedule, because you don't want to get discouraged either, so there's that good happy medium. And also make sure to stand up and stretch. So if you're working solely from home, step away from the computer or electronics for about a minute or two, just to adjust your eyes and get some get some water and some fresh air in. If it's sunshine, just step outside. But it's always good just to get this is another health rant that I'm going to go on, but to get your central, the cerebral spinal fluid moving, which is just really good overall for your whole body, just to stand up. Just seriously, just stand up. Just stand up and stretch. Takes 10 seconds. That is awesome. That's going to get it flowing. That's going to get things moving in your body. You need that during the day. So, and I would even suggest doing some resets like I use with my own clients. So what I mean by resets are there many breathing exercises, and you can do that anywhere. And it just helps our body to be in a relaxed state of balance, and it helps to calm our central nervous system. So that's just a few tips that I wanted to share with you, in hopes that once you start to implement these and stick with it enough to make it a habit, then you will see that you can be so much more productive. You can get more accomplished and may even still have time left over to enjoy the day or your family. That's what we need Add in family time. That is super important. Yes, you can do all of that, and you can be a really busy real estate agent even, and I'm talking to you agents because I'm speaking to myself here as well, but any entrepreneur or business owner, and not be in hustle mode. It's just, it's overrated, it's misused, and it just should not be in the vocabulary if, especially, you are the CEO of your own business, which all of us should be. If you're listening to this podcast, let's put on that hat. And so work like you mean it. Set to accomplish goals, but keep yourself sane and healthy along the way without the need to struggle while you're hustling. And let's remember, the only thing we need to do if we're hustling, listen to that song, dance to that song. Let's do the hustle only if we're on the dance floor. All right. Until next week, new day, new time. We are rolling this out every Monday now instead of Friday. So I will see you back here next Monday. See you next time. Before I leave, I wanted to add or make a correction for my girl Kat. Her podcast is actually the Pleaser Life Podcast. So check that out for sure. It's highly recommended, and she's doing great things. So anyways, wanted to make that correction. See you next Monday. Stay tuned for next week's episode, and thanks for listening. If this has helped you in any way, please show the love and share, download, and subscribe. Reviews also help me to reach more people and get this message out.